What's the haps? I'm Meroka, and today I'm going to take a second look at Tree of Savior. So, over the course of the last week or so, I guess I've spent somewhere around there about 10 hours playing this game, which is what I said I would do before I took a second look at it. I've seen a good amount of the features of the game. I don't for a moment think I've seen all the features of the game, which, you know, it's an MMO. There's a lot of stuff to see. I certainly haven't seen it, so I wouldn't call this in any way, shape, or form a review. Definitely not. But I do think that, you know, the opinion of someone who's spent a few hours playing a game is probably a useful viewpoint to have, so that people kind of know, you know, maybe what to expect from a game after they've been playing it for a bit. The viewpoint of someone who's just jumped into the game blind for the first time is probably going to differ a little bit from someone who spent, well, about 10 hours playing it. So, where are we at after 10 hours? We are, for starters, our character is at level 40, and I have unlocked a second class. So I have a couple of classes available to me, so if we bring up our character sheet, you can see I am now a Highlander as my class, so I'm kind of a hybrid swordsman Highlander. I've got access to both abilities. The classes kind of cap out at level 15, at which point you'll be given kind of a mini quest to go and pick something else. You can either develop an existing class further, so I can become a second circle swordsman, which I think puts an extra star there, or you can pick a new one. So I picked Highlander, which is kind of a bit of a squattish kind of thing. Get to run around with a big claymore and hit things with it, which sounds like fun. And it kind of is. I like that class. So there's that. At level 40, that seems like quite a lot for someone who's only played about 10 hours of the game, and by comparison to any other MMO, it kind of is. That's quite a lot, actually. So yeah, let's bring up the map and have a look at things, because 40... You go through the levels fairly fast, but 40 is nowhere near the cap. Any other game, 40 would probably be fairly near the cap of a new MMO. Look at the level requirements for these areas. This is the world map. Well, right next to this level 32 area, for some reason, they put a level 258 area. There's a level 258 area. Geez. Yeah, I don't know what the level cap is. That's one of those weird things that's always really awkward to find out about MMOs. I don't know why it's always so hard to find that information, to be honest, jumping into an MMO, a new MMO. But yeah, that information always seems to take a bit of digging to find, and it's not important, per se, but it's nice to know what you're working towards, I guess. You need to know, how far do I have to go to get to endgame in this? And that information is never readily available, so I can tell you at the very least 10 hours will get you to level 40. You're still going to be leveling up faster than most other MMOs at level 40, but it's less quick at 40, and you're still nowhere near anything because there's level 258 at least. This also kind of highlights the weird kind of level disparity in areas, because again there's level 35 next to a level 106 area. If we have a look over here, this is the first dungeon they send you into, which is generally, broadly speaking, fairly well balanced for where you are at in the game at the time. Level 16, level 20, level 22 on each of the floors, that's okay. But then at the end of level 3, you kill a boss, you get some loot, and then you go through a little doorway, and that connects you down to, oh look, this other area, recommended, the Crystal Mine Lot 2 first floor, recommended level 102. This is not well advertised to you when you get in there. There may have been a signpost somewhere, but the signposts in this game are really, really easy to overlook. I don't go out of my way to read a signpost if I see it in this game, I'm going to be honest. I suspect a lot of other players probably don't either. And yeah, what happens when you go through there at level 22? Oh look, there's an enemy on the other side. It one-shots you. You're dead. Bye-bye. And you lose your loot when you die. You take a bunch of durability, which costs money to repair up. But more importantly, there are items that you only get whilst you're in dungeons. They are these gems. They are socketed into gear, as is tradition in MMOs. Each of your bits of gear can have sockets added to them, which will allow you to multiply the stats in these kind of ways. So we can get a little extra critical rate, but at the cost of reduced critical attack if I socket this into a weapon. So there's always a trade-off there, and it's an interesting little way to handle gems. So you got to weigh up the pros and cons of using each specific socket. It's not necessarily a straight "this makes you better" kind of effect. I think broadly speaking it will make you better, but you do have to weigh up the trade-offs. And as I say, these can only be acquired in dungeons, and if you die, they are the one item that I found, at any rate, the one item in your inventory that you will drop. They will scatter across the floor, and unless you got I think if you've got a way to res where you are, you can get up and go again. But that's a premium item. You're probably not going to have an item to get up and go from where you are. So you're going to die, go back to the graveyard, and when you get back to where you died, your stuff is not there anymore. So that kind of sucks. So, yeah. Not necessarily a big fan of that mechanic. I really wish I wish there was a better way to res when you die. Most other games give you at least a couple of options rather than just sorry, your stuff's gone. Also, just to have an MMO take your stuff off you. I guess they're kind of going for a little bit of an old school thing. Certainly, I know a lot of old school MMOs did have you drop all your stuff when you die, and you had to go back and get it before everybody else looted it. Certainly that's kind of obvious insofar as it kind of has the sort of the strength increases the amount you can carry, kind of over-encumbered weight limits on your inventory. That's kind of very much an old school kind of mechanic as well. So they're clearly going for that, but guess what? There's a reason most people don't play old school MMOs anymore. Don't get me wrong, I know there are a handful of people out there who still love playing the really old, pre-WoW. Let's say just call it pre-WoW MMOs. WoW kind of changed how MMOs work, and before that, MMOs did things a little bit differently. And so this game kind of has a lot of nods to the old ways of doing things, and dropping your inventory and having weight limits on your inventory. These are very, very old school kind of things. So that's not going to be for everybody. I'm going to be honest, I'm more of a new school MMO gamer, as it were. The first MMO I played was Ragnarok Online, which, weirdly enough, is the same guy who made this, actually. It turns out the lead developer on this is the same person who made Ragnarok Online. I never liked Ragnarok Online. I'm surprised that didn't put me off MMOs for life. But I didn't. I got into... God damn it. That's why they'd be making noises for so long. It's just someone eating popcorn. You know what? Let's go into the church and stop. Everyone's whinging about that person eating popcorn. That's hilarious. But that is a really annoying thing. Yeah, let's just avoid the popcorn. I thought there was someone crafting or something. No. There's a lot of people hanging around outside the dungeons, plying their trade skills and things. And while it's certainly true that there clearly must be trade skills, but I have not been able to find them. I don't know where or when the game teaches you these things. Most MMOs sort of early on in an MMO experience, they're like, okay, you're level 5, now we learn some Trender, they will teach you things, you'll learn about the different things that you can do in this game, and you can go do them. In this instance, that has not happened yet. At level 40, that has not happened yet. So I don't even know. So we're going to go into this dungeon, we're going to actually do some stuff now, because I've been waffling long enough. So let's actually get some combat, let's show you some things. It may not last very long, I may get myself killed pretty easily. I'm level 40, these guys are level 49. There's another one of those gems. They do just drop at random from stuff in the dungeons. And, of course, it's pretty easy for me to lose them. So I got a few nice abilities at this point that come from my class. They're still a little awkward to deal with, to be honest, in terms of combat. I really, really would like a mouse-driven interface. I'm not a fan of all this keyboard-driven stuff. It feels unnecessary. It feels very unnecessary. And am I going to get myself killed? I could get myself killed here. There's a lot of things doing a lot of damage to me. So, oh, I leveled up. Well, that's helpful. One thing I did pick up on is that leveling up does seem to do with this massive AoE damage. If you're not careful, that will just aggro every enemy from miles around. That's less fun, I will say. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. I should really get out of the way of all these telegraphs and try and kill some stuff with my Carter Stroke, because that's a really good way of killing things. I'm doing okay around here. Thing is, I'm on a quest that requires me to kill stuff kind of within this circle, and I've not managed that. These enemies, I've attempted this quest like several times at this point, and can I activate this? No, I can't. I need to activate that altar and then kill things, but yeah, you can't activate it while everything's killing you, so I need to kill things. This area just doesn't feel balanced, and I feel like a lot of that feels that way. This dungeon, I was about level 34, 5 maybe when I got into it, and it was, as you saw, so it starts out, the first floor is like a level 40 zone, and I could kind of just about hold my own in there. It was okay, it was alright. Oh good, just dropped a ton of enemies on me, great, that's what I wanted. And yeah, I could just about hold my own, because as I say, you can fight stuff a little way above your level, but then once you burn through that first floor, now you're on a level 44 zone, and you have not leveled up 4 times in the course of that first floor, I can tell you that for nothing. And suddenly, it's even more overwhelming, and they just interrupted my attack, and all is going wrong. I don't have anywhere near enough healing items to make this work. Can I? Oh, I can't activate the altar, oh my god. This is going so badly wrong. I just need to clear the enemies out for long enough that I can activate the altar, but by the time I do that, I'm feeling like... Oh, okay, right, the altar's activated, that's good. I can actually work on this quest now. But I'm going to get myself killed before that happens. I got one of them. Okay, these big guys are actually pretty good quest progress, I guess. So let's try and do that. Did I do it? Activate the altar, 44. No. Not enough. There's so many ranged classes around here that are just making a mess of me as well. I am going to have to get out of here, I think. I'm about to die. I need to move. I'm going to pop a healing item. It's not a very good healing item, but I am so close to dead, I need to get out of here. And this is what I'm saying, I'm just overwhelmed by this. By the time you make it to the 3rd floor of this here, I think I made it to about level 37 or something, which is not enough. It is not enough. There's just... I'm just going to get out of here to where there's nothing to fight, actually, because I don't trust these guys not to kill me. So yeah, I'm overwhelmed. So I had to go back and I had to grind out every side quest that I'd made. You remember how there are some items. In fact, where is my quest giver for this one? Follower Algus. I can teleport to him, in fact, because I did do that. So I did complete one of those things there by killing the egg gnomes, whatever they are. Gnomes that come from eggs. Hey, they want to do some weird giant mechanical constructs. So I can hand this in now. 2 times level 3 XP cards. Those are nice. Those are good to have. Great. Got those. I can use those to level up. You're going to want to go back and do every side quest you can possibly get to get as many of those as possible so you can level up. And by doing that, I managed to just grind my way through all the side quests, through all of this that's within my reach, that's within my level range, all of that. By going through and doing all of that, I just about managed to make it to level 40. Just barely. And then I still had to come in here and do some stuff, actually, I think. I'm just shy of maybe like level 39.5 or something. It's uphill work. So how you're supposed to be level 48 for this, I don't know. Maybe you're supposed to buy an XP boost. Maybe that is a thing. There is a lot of this game that does seem sort of aimed around trying to get you to well, buy premium accounts, to be quite honest. So yeah, let's put my points in that. I could get some constitution, I could get some more health, or I could get some strength and do more damage. I'll take constitution. I clearly need more health. I'm clearly not very good at health. So I need to heal up, and the only effective way to heal up, if you are not a healer, is to build a bonfire. I only have resources for one of those right now, so let's pop a bonfire down. And we can sit by that and let our health regenerate and talk about other things. So let's have a look at the cosmetics, because obviously, weirdly enough, I'm still dressed mostly as I was. It seems that, aside from premium cosmetics, which you can buy, we'll head back to the city shortly and have a look at those, you do get a costume for each new class that you get. So every time you spec into a new circle, each time you pick a Highlander or a Peltaster or whatever else is available and down the other paths, they'll give you a little bit of a quest to do that, and then once you've done it, they will give you a costume. The costume you don't have to be wearing the costume to be that class. These are purely cosmetics, and a lot of them have that odd aesthetic choice, which a lot of MMOs seem to do, which is, I would broadly say, designed to appeal to 13-year-old boys. Which is to say, for whatever reason, whenever you're running around all the time, you just can see straight up the women's skirts, which is just like, why are you doing that? That's thoroughly unnecessary. One can certainly argue it as an aesthetic choice, but I'm not gonna lie, it's just a little bit creepy. I mean, purely for the purposes of demonstration. Here, look, hey, look, I'm dressed differently now. Great, that's my new class character. Standing there like that, I kind of dig that character. We're Highlander, right? So we get a kilt and this kind of Highlands of Scotland, lots of furs and things. We look like some sort of Scottish Highland warrior. I kind of dig that outfit. Except that when you're running around, the skirt is so short, you can just see her underwear. So, yeah, no. I'll stick with something that actually looks like I'm designed to fight in it, at least a little bit. I'm going to sit back down by a bonfire. Bonfires, mercifully, I think if you just find a bonfire, if someone has lit one, you can just chill out and heal up. It's still a really slow process. This is unless you have healing spells at your disposal, this is the fastest way to heal up. There may be better HP potions that I haven't bought. I should probably go check the vendor and get those. But at the same time, they give you quite a lot of other resources just as quest rewards, and they've never given me any of those. Most of them actually are just the SP potions. They give you crazy amounts of those. And those don't play nice with the sort of the weight system, because you look at it, each of those weighs 10. I have 200 of those in the bank, simply because 200 times 10, that takes up 2,000 weight in my inventory. If I were lugging those around with me all the time, I would be over-encumbered all the time. Nearly half, probably over half, of all my inventory space is just SP potions for some reason. I'm carrying around mountains and mountains and mountains of crafting reagents, weird bits of materials and things. I'm carrying around a friggin' anvil. An anvil weighs 1/10 of the weight of a potion. I'm carrying around tons and tons of gear and armor and things. Actually, it does do weigh a good bit, actually, relatively speaking, but still, the fact that my sword weighs about 20 times an SP potion, that's, I don't know, it's a friggin' two-handed claymore thing. It shouldn't, these numbers don't add up. These should be way lighter. They break your inventory quite badly. So let's go talk to Algus, see what he's got for me. He presumably has another quest chain, but God has told us never to give up. Trapped Guesty. All preparations have been made. The barriers of the church will soon weaken Guesty. Guesty will be enough for you to handle once she's weakened. When she's cornered, I will make the final strike with the Divine Sphere. I am not ready yet. I think I accidentally did this one before, actually. That one just throws you into a boss fight against the lady that you see patrolling around down there. If you go down there before the fight, she deals a bunch of damage to you, and you get kicked out of the dungeon area, or at least right back to the start of the dungeon area. So yeah, normally she's someone to avoid, and there's definitely a weird audio bug. He's got this kind of this bell rope here, and it's like, oh, if you go near her, I will ring the bell so that you know that you're near her. That don't always work. Sometimes she spawns on top of you, sometimes the bell doesn't ring, sometimes the bell only rings the moment she started attacking you. Yeah, and there's also supposed to be a big red warning pops up on the screen that's like, you're going near her. It doesn't work. There's a lot of weird bugs in the game. They're just like, it just feels a little bit unpolished in a lot of places. Sometimes when you're running around, yeah, there's a great example. Yep, my character's head is twitching like, I don't know what. If I run, I think it's fairly consistently if I run just in that direction, my head does this weird sort of crazy, no, doing it there as well, actually. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. There's just a lot of weird graphical and audio bugs, and sometimes when you're relying on them, as in this quest chain, if you're relying on them to make progress, it doesn't work, it breaks things. Yeah, it's happening for him as well. Less dramatically so, but nonetheless, I don't think his head's supposed to be twitching about like I don't even know what. So, yeah, we're going to head back down a floor of the church to, firstly, where enemies I can actually kind of handle a little bit, and secondly, we can get a teleport and we can go back to the quest hub. So early on, certainly I found that my abilities, they felt kind of limited. I felt like I was burning through SP fairly quickly, but certainly that is an effect of how you build your stat line. If you put plenty of points into spirits, you're going to have, you know, points to spend. You still might go through them, but I guess that is the reason they give you a insane ton of those SP potions. I think perhaps maybe they are expecting you to just burn through insane amounts of SP in your questing. That could be true. I don't know, I feel like there's a better way to do that than just chugging potions endlessly. I think there has to be a better way to manage that particular mechanic. I don't know. So, these guys are weak to piercing. I do actually only have the one piercing ability, so I'm just going to have to spam that a bit. The thing is, when you run out of SP, and you can see, you know, after a couple fights, I'm already down to half SP, my options are make another bonfire and chill out by it for 5 minutes, and let's be honest, it is pretty much 5 minutes. You are going to be waiting. You're going to be waiting a few minutes to get all your stats back. I'm having a real trouble getting, you know, access to attacking these guys. Yeah, I do a card stroke. I want to do that, so that kills things. That is a kill thing in one go, if you can charge it up kind of ability, but you don't get to use it very often. It's on a cooldown, and you get to use it twice within each cooldown period. So there's some interesting combat stuff, but a lot of time, you can see I'm already fairly low on SP. I always see that chug a potion, or sit by a bonfire, or we go to hacking and slashing. Maybe by saying, oh, it's just a lot of hacking and slashing, I'm doing it wrong. That's arguable, and actually a fairly reasonable suggestion. You could say that I'm just playing the game wrong if all I'm doing is hacking and slashing all the time to get through all the enemies. Could be, but a lot of the time you kind of find that maybe a lot of the combat kind of devolves into that. I can buff up, but they buff up as well, that's okay. And I can do that. I mean, there's a lot of weaker enemies. Certainly if they're weak to slashing, my basic attack is a slashing move. And there's kind of these sort of... I hesitate to suggest kind of a rock, paper, scissors kind of thing. I don't think that's strictly to the truth, but... Yeah, if I have a look at my abilities, we've got a slash, we've got a strike, and thrust is my piercing ability. Alright, they left a like on me. I don't get what that one's about, but where is that? There's likes received 1. Yeah, for some this weird sort of Facebooky social thing where it says you can leave a like on a character. Great, I guess. I imagine there's probably like Achieve or something for being liked a certain number of times. I don't know. I don't know what that's for or about at all. And I don't know why they liked me. They just kind of liked me, I guess. It's always nice to be liked, I suppose. That's kind of weird. No one's liked me before in this game. And there's a few people in the... If you're going back to the city, you'll probably see a few people. Let's teleport. Use one of the teleport shrines. I do like that there's fast travel in this game. I do like that. It's a rather nice feature that more MMOs need to kind of work in. Wildstar kind of has a hybrid system where it's got some fast travel, it's got some sort of taxis, and it's got a lot of teleports and things. It's not too bad in that respect. Taxis are good if you do them right, a lot of jokes, but in this instance it's just quick travel. So as I say, yeah, when we get back to town, chances are there's going to be a bunch of people, because there's usually someone around town saying, "Can you leave a like on me?" Maybe there isn't today, but... Usually there's a few people that are just like, "Hey, I'm trying to get to 100 likes. Can you leave 100 likes on me?" Yep, gold farming spamming is still absolutely a thing. They've still absolutely made no efforts to stop that whatsoever. So let's have a look at some of the town features. Now that we're in the middle of town, our frame rate has tanked, as is, to be fair, always the way in MMO's main city. That's kind of fairly unavoidable, I think. I've yet to find someone that doesn't do that. Even Spiral Knights, which I praised for generally having pretty good performance, you know, you go into Haven with a high-end PC, it's still going to have trouble. You need blocking as well. Oh my god. This is terrible. So, yeah, we can have a look at my bank. Hello. We have to go through dialogue every time. That strikes me as unnecessary. I'd like just to be able to open the bank rather than anything else. So you can see I've dumped most of my potions there just because... There's just so many of them, and that would weigh so much. So they stay in there all the time for me. I will get them out if I need them. Gems go in there because I don't want to lose them. They're the thing I drop. They're probably what you want to keep in there. Everything else, there's no real harm in keeping it on you unless you're over-encumbered. There's no harm in keeping most of your gear on you. The overwhelming majority of stuff's pretty light, so you can carry a whole crazy ton of stuff anyway. I've got loads and loads of stuff. I'm only at 45% of my weight. It's fine. We have the markets manager well, it's the auction house. The auction house is limited, to be quite honest. I suppose it would be better looking at the premium person to show you how this works, show you the limitations on this. But if you want to sell things, you can only list one thing at a time. Do I have anything to retrieve? I have some money to retrieve. Yeah, if I want to retrieve money from the auction house for some reason, I can't retrieve it for 2 days after it's sold. So I got a bunch of money there, but I can't do anything with it for 2 days for some reason. If I do sell something, they will take 30% of the price, which is an astonishing amount of the selling price. That item there I sold for, I think that was just a tiny fraction shy of 40,000. I only get 27,000 from it. They took 30% off me. Do you know why? Do you know why? That is because if we talk to the TP trader, we can see the premium accounts. So firstly, obviously, we've got to do some dialogue first, and then we can see that she sells tokens. Tokens mean that the market commission fee is reduced from crippling to MMO standard, which is 30% down to 10%, and you're able to list up to 10 items at a time on an auction house, which is still kind of low by MMO standards, I would have said. Most games have a higher number than that at any given time. It's not like you get less loot in this game than other games. You still probably want to be able to list more than that, I would have said. If you're going out questing and picking up stuff and you want to be able to sell it to other players, it would be nice to be able to list more than that. But if you don't have a premium account, you are listed to one single item at a time. If you are selling anything on the auction house, you cannot sell anything else unless you buy premium. So, yeah, what does premium cost? Let's have a look at that. So, the premium currency, up until a couple of days ago, you were only able to buy it through DLC bundle packs, like buy the starter pack on Steam and stuff. They've only just implemented actual microtransactions, So the way that one works out is £6.21, or presumably your regional equivalent, for 100 TP, the premium currency. It's £11.17 for 300, which is actually weirdly cheaper than buying 2 packs of 100, so you're better off buying 300 than buying 200. And £18.61 for 500. So each of those packs kind of increments by about £6 or so. So your TP is, you'd be better off buying the 300 pack for that. So you're going to get, it's going to cost you £11.17, but you're going to get 100 and some left over. I guess if you bought 2 packs of those, you'd get 600 for about £24. That would buy you 3 months worth of content. So in the long run, if you were to keep using the premium system, it's working out roughly about £8 a month, probably, and that gives you all these benefits. You move faster. I don't think there's any PvP particularly in the game per se, so I don't think that's really breaking anything in that regard. I don't necessarily think that sounds terribly fair, especially when you consider that movement speed is probably pretty good for getting out of combat and stuff as well, but at the same time, I don't think that necessarily breaks anything. An XP boost is fairly standard for a premium thing within a game. XP boost, yeah, that's fine. Although one could argue that it does sometimes feel like this whole kind of leveling curve may be aimed more at people who have had a 30% XP boost. Or was it 50%, whatever it worked out at? Yeah. I think if you had a 30% XP boost, you'd probably fare a lot better along the leveling curve than somebody who didn't, which maybe leads it to, if you're playing free-to-play, it may be a little more grindy than you might otherwise want it to be. That 30% XP is probably necessary for the curve to feel balanced, I would have said. You get some premium stuff, a lot of cosmetics and stuff. Increased maximum buff counts. I do believe that top end, indeed even below top end, the game claims there is raiding. It does say there are low-level raids. Where those are, I don't know, but at any rate, yeah, the increased maximum buff counts. I feel like if you're going raiding, somebody who has a premium account actually kind of then has an advantage in a group content. They would be... A group going raiding would prefer to take somebody who's premium over someone who wasn't, because they can be made to be better by buffing them more. So that's a little imbalance, not a fan of that. Personal trade, not sure what that means. I think we glanced at that before, and that's still not become particularly abundant. It just sounds like trading between players, but why would there be a limit of 30 times trading between players? Is that within a time frame or total? Was 30 times total trading with someone? That's very limiting. I don't know. Hard to make out what that means. And 1 extra instance entry, so again, for people doing sort of complex group content, you get more chances if you're a premium. So also preferable to take a premium account as well from that. And then I suppose also, if you've got some money left over from buying those, hey, you can buy XP terms as well, which is going to give you, that's also going to give you that XP buff as well. Also here we've got the skill reset potion. Definitely don't like this feature. The only way to respec your character, all these skills and attributes that don't show up in front of this in this interface, but you know, I put some skill points into this. In fact, I'm going to close this TP shop so you can see it. So I put some skill points into this. You get, for each class level you get 1 point to put in this. So I've got level 4 wagon wheel, level 4 Carter stroke, level 3 crown, level 3 cross guard. I've got all these different abilities available to me. And if you decide that you've built that wrong, I mean, I don't use crossguard. I mean, I can't actually figure out how the crossguard mechanic works. It's supposed to be kind of a defensive stance, but every time I use it, I just seem to get hit anyway, and it doesn't seem to make any difference to the damage I take. So, almost seems kind of pointless to use. So maybe I decide that, oh well, I'm not being a very defensive Highlander, maybe I should just put all of my points into pure DPS. How do I do that? Oh, I see. I have to spend real money. It cost me 88 TP. That cost me... In order to do that, I've got to buy a bundle of 100, so that's going to cost me £6.21 just to respec my character. I am not on board with that. No, that should be a fundamental feature that is available to people. That should be purchasable with currency. They should be able to spend silver on that and do that. There should be an alternative option for people who don't want to spend silver. This should be here as well, but to the best of my knowledge, you cannot respec with silver. I can't find that feature, if that is the case. If it is the case, they've hidden it well to try and encourage you to buy this, I would have said. In terms of appearances, we got a lot of cosmetics, but cosmetics are cosmetics. There are haircuts, there are, I guess these are the standard ones, they're fairly cheap, only 15 TP. So I think these are the ones we got to pick at from the start. When you create a new character, you can pick those things. There's some premium ones, and we get to preview them. Gonna be honest, I don't particularly care for any of the premium hairstyles, actually. I don't think I would want to buy them. And they're surprisingly expensive. And my preview has broken now, for some reason. Great. Don't. Character's gone. We've got some costumes as well that are cheaper than the hairstyles for some reason. There's not a lot at this stage. Oh, there we go. There's my character. Yeah, we've got the spring flower dresses are kind of... They're kind of some kind of limit. I feel like it's a limited time kind of promo kind of deal I've got going on at the minute, which is, yeah, hey, go buy the spring. It's spring, buy a spring flower dress. And there's a different one for each of the different kind of class paths. So someone who's a swordsman gets to wear that. Somebody who is them. It'd be nice to actually be able to preview things that are not your class as well, but you actually can't. And then there are some other ones which are specific to certain classes. For some reason, swordsman and wizard only get one premium costume, whereas archers get 2 and clerics get 2 as well. For some reason, we've got Wings of Reborder and Priest Circle 3. Why is this Priest Circle 3 costume when it's just for clerics? I don't know. You kind of feel like that by leveling up to Priest Circle 3, you would get that. I'm not sure. Alright, yeah, Peltaster Master is if you want to pretend to be a really, really potent sword and board player with a lot of cleavage going on. Yeah. Continuing the theme with the costumes. It's like, okay. I mean, aesthetic choices and all that, but they do show off a little bit too much of the ladies, which seems to... It's that artistic style that mostly appeals to 13-year-old boys kind of thing. That's just... It'd be nice to see an MMO that didn't try to cater to that market quite so heavily. Can we just have a sensible-looking kind of thing? Anyway, what else is there around here? There's not a whole heck of a lot. Highlander Master, I suppose, is my class trainer. I can show you that if I can get in here. There we go. Let's have a loading screen. 80 classes in the game, I think it was, but around the town there are only 13 of these guys, so I don't know if there are other cities that give you access to the higher level content. Douglas Black is our man here, so he's going to talk to us for a bit, and then we can learn attributes. The attributes are kind of these are kind of fun actually. I like what they're doing here. These are pretty interesting. So each of my abilities can be modified in certain ways. We can learn a few of the passive things. I've got stuff like weapon swap is available, so I can change weapons. So I can, if I had a sword and board, I actually don't on me, but if I had, I could put them there. And the awkward command Alt-Z would allow me to switch items. I don't think that's the best way to do it. I think there could be a better hotkey for that. Maybe I could rebind it if I'm honest, but yeah. Having Alt-Z switch weapons. Can't say I'm a fan of that, but if you do want to switch weapons on the fly while you're out and about, you can have 2 weapon slots, which is kind of cool. But as part of sort of specific ones, we can say Skull Swing Enhance. So if I presumably that's a high-level Highlander thing. If you want to improve the damage Skull Swing does, you can do that. That's kind of a boring one. There's one of those for like all of those. It's just pay money and your ability gets better, to be honest. But then some of them are just a little bit more interesting. So we've got Card Stroke Collision Damage. I've got that there, which is just deal additional damage to enemies, which you knock back with that ability. But in case you maybe want to control the battle a bit better, there's a different one. There's Card Stroke Remove Knockback. This one's immediate to learn, but it costs a lot of money. And there's a few of them like this. This one I can't see why I would toggle it on and off, but that one certainly you could toggle it on and off. And you can just do that, and it's like, I don't want that enhancement anymore, that attribute. That particular attribute is not suitable to my playstyle, so I can turn that off now. I would say that that's just add 50% damage to the ability. I don't see why you would do that. But remove knockback, that's this actually changes the effect of how this ability works. So I can see why you would toggle that. What I'm not a fan of with this system is that quite a lot of this stuff, as you see, 16 minutes required to learn this one. 8 minutes to learn, 16 minutes. They're not too bad. Actually, some of them are 30 minutes to learn. Whether some of the higher ones take even longer than that, I don't know, but why those are there is not obvious. It doesn't really... There's no obvious reason for that other than selling you premium, because by creating a premium account, or buying a premium account at any rate, that removes these limitations. So if I wanted to increase my critical attack by 10% when equipped with a two-handed sword, yeah, I probably do want that, actually. 3,500, yeah, I'll take that, sure. Great. But that's going to take me half an hour to learn that. That doesn't come into effect for half an hour. What's the point of that, other than trying to sell me on a premium account? There's no reason for that I can make out. Again, there's just a lot of this is designed around just slowly, steadily, generally kind of funneling you towards, please, please, please buy a premium account. I can get why they're doing that. That is literally how the game makes its money, but at the same time, it does make the game less fun to play. You know, I prefer a system where I enjoy the game enough that I want to support it by paying money towards it, than a system where I'm not enjoying the game, and in order to enjoy the game, I'm being encouraged to spend money. That feels like doing it wrong. WildStar is a game where I enjoy the game regardless, but I feel like I want to spend money on it because I'm enjoying it. Whereas this feels like I'm maybe not enjoying the game, and to be able to enjoy the game, they're asking me to spend. Ideally, you should be spending at least £8 a month in order to enjoy this game. As I say, look, the main gripe for me is that leveling curve. The fact that it's so difficult for me to make progress at this point. There's this weird jump from level 35 to 40 to 44 to 48. This dungeon far outstrips your capabilities really, really quickly unless you're prepared to sit and grind. And maybe this is the legacy of where the game's coming from. As I say, it was originally... the designer is the same guy who made Ragnarok Online. Ragnarok Online. God, how I hate that game. That was the grindiest thing I've ever played. And maybe that's crept into this here. Less so, I think. Certainly, I don't think I would have made this level 40 if it was anywhere near as grindy as Ragnarok Online. But at the same time, there are a bunch of sort of side quests, repeatable side quests that I haven't done through the areas that I've been to. So maybe I should go back and dig some of those out for some XP, but... I don't know, maybe the leveling curve should just be better in this game. Or maybe it really wants me to buy a premium account. Maybe that's the case. Maybe it's like, look, this game is not fun unless you pay money. And that's just doing monetization wrong in my book. It really is. I can't say I'd be compelled to play another 10 hours of this. I really couldn't. If the leveling curve wasn't so bad, if I was actually able to make some progress at this point, maybe I'd sink some more time into it, but this game has felt a little bit like a chore to play. And I think that's a mark of... that is very much a mark of whether a game is worth continuing with. If I can sink 10 hours into a game and not notice that I've sunk 10 hours into a game, if it has been trivial and that time has just blown past and I've enjoyed every moment of it, yeah, okay, let's play more of this game. I have not. I have had to force myself to play 10. This game was a chore. I felt like I had to do it. I felt like I'd committed myself to doing it, and I was going to make myself do it. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. If I have to make myself play 10 hours of this game because I don't really want to, I have to, you know, convince myself that I need to do this because I need to make a video on this. I've said I'm going to make a video on this. This is the only reason I'm sinking 10 hours into this. Well, that's not a compelling reason to play the game. It's a shame because, weird, creepy costumes aside, it's a fairly cool art style. It's a very pretty game otherwise, and it's doing some interesting stuff, but there's just enough issues with the game that it doesn't necessarily feel fun to play. So I'm not going to force myself to play another 10 hours of this. I'm not going to do a 20-hour thing. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to say 10 hours in, this game has ceased to be fun. I'm sorry, I wouldn't recommend it. It might not be for everyone. That might not be the case for everybody. Some people might like grind. I don't like grind. Not that much, anyway. I'm almost tempted to make a video on the subject of grind, actually, because that's come up a few times recently. I should do that. At any rate, we're leaving that there for today, anyway. So, thank you very much for watching. This has been Tree of Savior, 10 hours in, my second look. There won't be a third look. Don't expect a third look of this. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.